everyone, Brad Johnson here, and I'm happy to begin this video series that represents 5 questions for the Reality Whisperer. So I'm going to look and see if I can continue to do this on a monthly basis. Sometimes I just forget regarding these questions. I did one back in April with Adronis, top 5 questions, and then there were just so many other subjects and topics that I get involved with, and I just forget to keep up with these top 5. But I just have to give a reminder to myself. So this is kind of a more of a personal, laid-back kind of video, just in regards to questions that I've received quite often on Facebook, on emails, sometimes in person at conferences that I've done, and a lot of bits. So I just basically kind of tallied up a lot of these kind of common questions that I've received over the last little while, and this is what's going to make up the first top 5 video for the Reality Whisperer channel. So I have the 5 questions here. The first one is, Brad, how deeply involved are you in your spiritual practice on a daily basis? Do you meditate every day? Do you talk to Adronis quite often? What's a common day like for you? Recently, as I moved back from Vancouver, I was in Edmonton for a very short time, and I moved back to Vancouver and living in this new place. I've actually made an effort to meditate a lot, almost on a daily basis. Before that time, it was kind of in between. Maybe I'd meditate maybe about 2 or 3 times a week. But no, before I was here, I didn't really do too much meditating. Not that much. It was just a little bit here and there, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes, just to help me get centered, or just a feeling to go into meditation. And if I did meditate, it was mainly just going into void, following the breath, looking into certain form of images. I really like looking into things that spin, things that rotate. So if it's like a tetrahedron or a ring, a toroidal field, I do a lot of those particular types of meditations. When I start doing that, I start feeling my own fields spinning, my own light body starting to activate in that way. And that's basically the prelude of going into a out-of-body experience, though I haven't had a lot of success with that. But what I do on a daily basis, well, I am quite a computer guy. So usually the first thing in the morning, I go up and I check my emails. I check to see who's writing to me, if there's what sessions are to be done today, checking up on schedules. I also like going for walks quite a bit. I also enjoy yoga. Yes, meditation, again, I've been getting more into that. Love doing artwork. I've done 2 new portraits just recently, and absolutely love it. I'm also a bit of a gamer as well too. I've been playing a few video games, a lot of the Star Wars games. Actually isn't too bad. I was actually playing the new StarMade video game. It's kind of like that Minecraft game but in outer space. I just recently bought that and was playing that a little bit. So yeah, I play a little bit of video games. Watch some movies sometimes. I've subscribed to Gaia, so I watch a few of the things there. On Netflix as well. So yeah, do some walking around. I start going out in nature a lot. There's actually a little park down where I am, and there's a nice little harbor view of the water, so I go down there quite a bit. I drink a lot of lattes, actually. Well, almond milk chai lattes. I'm actually quite crazy with those. So I drink those on a daily basis as well too. I know I should probably cut back a bit, but I just love them. That was actually my substitution for coffee, because I used to be really bad with coffee. I used to drink coffee like the bucket loads years ago, and I just realized what it was doing to me. And I got off it, and I substituted that with a lot of yoga, and thankfully I don't drink coffee anymore, and I have no plans to go back to it. But on a daily basis, it's very erratic. There's a lot of different things I like to do. I don't really have a daily set schedule. But yeah, I'm just a very common Joe as it comes to living my life and doing some fun things, getting some exercise. I try to go to the gym when I can once in a while, do some yoga, do some meditating, make some videos like I'm doing right now, working with sessions as well, and just maybe eventually taking a trip as well too. I think the next place I'm looking to go for a trip would be the Turks and Caicos Islands, which I'm looking to go to possibly in the wintertime. So some idea there on a daily daily aspect on what I do. Oh yeah, the question is, do you talk to Adronis quite often as well too? Do I talk to Adronis quite often? Well, when I channel him, basically I'm just kind of stepping aside and I'm just letting the information to go through. But if I'm having like a lot of chats with him, no, not really. I do get the odd guidance to just be able to talk to him. So sometimes I'll just go into a state and I'll have this kind of dual channeling experience where I'm just basically saying the questions out loud. I'll bring Adronis in, he'll come through, he'll start talking to me about what the answer is to that question or an insight to that question, and it kind of goes back and forth. But I don't do those too often. I may do that maybe once or twice a month. No, I don't chit chat with Adronis too much. It doesn't really happen that way. He rarely comes in through my dreams. He has in the past, but he doesn't really. He's not the chit chat type. If I need to talk to him about something, he's there in a heartbeat. But I don't really gossip with him a lot. It's mostly just when I'm channeling him and bringing that information through, because a lot of the information I get is from my own collective guidance and the quote-unquote universal mind. So when I bring Adronis through, absolutely, it's wonderful conversations I've had with him in the past. But no, I don't really talk to him on a daily basis outside of doing channeling work. It's a very, very rare thing. Okay, question number 2. Brad, can you explain the process on how you channel Adronis? How did you begin channeling him? And has there been any changes regarding that channeling up to current day? Well, when I first started channeling him, I was told about the energy of Sirius by a friend of mine who was also a channeler of quite a few years. And I was just starting to cut my teeth relating to automatic writing. Now, channeling did come very naturally to me. It's not something I really needed to work hard with. It was just something I felt I always knew I had, but I didn't realize or recognize that I had it. So when I started channeling my connections, so to speak, these collective consciousnesses, etc., I just mainly focused on the intent. I just went with a lot of the instructions that I was being told by a lot of other channelers and saying that you don't have to go into a very deep altered state of consciousness. You just go into a centered place, be at peace, and just ask questions. As you ask questions, just let the flow come through as it needs to. And that's exactly what I did. So quite a lot of meditating, which took several weeks, I would say. And then I would just relax into it, I would go into the flow, and then I would just write these questions down, and all of a sudden I'd get this flow and these incredible responses, and it did not take a lot of effort. And I think that's what people get a little critical about my message with Adronis or with any other particular types of channeling I've done. It's like, I don't know if Brad's even really channeling. It just, you look at Bashar, you look at Abraham, you see how they're going into these different states. Like, Brad's just so, I don't know, himself when he channels. And I said, yeah, that's it. Even when I channel Adronis, it's not a complex process. It's not going into a very deep trance state. It's very conscious, right? I just basically put myself in the background and let him speak. Basically what I say is I'm putting automatic writing into automatic language, and I'm vocally expressing what's coming through like one would in the automatic writing state. And it just takes off like wildfire. So that was really my beginning time, was just working with automatic writing with him, and then I found out about Adronis through connecting with Sirius. And then he just came in through the automatic writing process. I just surrendered myself. I had a pen and paper in my hand, and I just started writing a question and saying, is there anybody here within the Sirius Collective that wants to talk to me? And all of a sudden, Adronis came through. It was so clear, so crystal clear, just seamless in regards to the responses that were coming through. Just this natural form of writing. And no thought comes into it. And that's the thing when I'm doing channeling as well too. I don't think about what's being said, and I've had these debates with people all the time, and it's just such a flawless way of how it comes about, is that I do not need to go so deep into a state to bring his consciousness through. So basically what changed was going from automatic writing into a more vocal channeling with Adronis, and it just basically came to be. I did a lot of meditations to grounding myself a lot more. I had some people that really loved the new vocal channeling, when I started to do it, I had some channelers who were very critical about it and saying, I don't know if you're just channeling him or not. It's just you're just seeming so much like yourself. And I mean, the information is good, but it's like you don't really shift that much. And I said, I don't know what to say. I said, this is all just my automatic writing process that I'm now making vocal, right? And that's how it has been since that day. It's still the exact same thing. When Adronis comes through, it's basically all the flow that I received from automatic writing, and I'm just vocalizing it in that way. I basically am able to center myself and ground myself, and there's a lot more of a magnetic charge, I guess I could say, when I'm channeling Adronis. And of course, there's that rotation energy that I do. And a lot of people ask me about that, as saying, what do you do that rotation thing? When you rotate like that, what are you doing? I said, this is really like creating a vortex. It's basically like being in that kind of energy. You're centering with that energy. It's like you're having two polarity consciousnesses, not on a negative or a positive, bad or good or anything like that, but just two different polarities, a physical consciousness, more of a non-physical consciousness, converging and creating this vortex. And you're basically just enacting in that flow. So the channeling has gotten a little bit deeper throughout the years. But again, all I do is just align as one would in an automatic writing process and just vocalize a lot of what's coming through as you would do inspirational writing or automatic writing. That's very much my process. That's always been my process. Again, a lot of criticism I've gotten over the years is, Brad's probably just reading like a lot of books. He's probably just like a very adept researcher. He's probably just, copying off this guy or reading a bunch of these books and stuff like that. And the answer is no. Sorry, guys. I don't do that. I hardly read any books, actually. The books I think that I've read that have really stuck with me have been like the Law of One series, the Ringing Cedar series, the Anastasia books. Those are really stuck with me, but I don't really read too much. I have very few books in my collection. The ones that I do have been looked into a little bit of astrology. I've looked into a little bit of magic, a little bit into alchemy. But no, I mean, a lot of the concepts that Adronis has come through channeling have been completely fresh. Things that have not been on my conscious mind. If anything, it's causing me to study a lot more of this stuff because Adronis comes through, and how I study that a lot more is I bring him through and I get him to elaborate a lot more on this. And then through synchronicity, I noticed that maybe some friends, like Rob Gauthier, starts talking about things. Even when Dolores Cannon was talking about a lot of things in her books, it was just all these matchings of synchronicity that came together. And I started exploring that quite a bit through the idea of synchronicity that came together. But no, as far as me reading thousands of books or researching thousands of people, that's not what I do. It's very much all of this flow that's coming through. And when I notice synchronicity aligning to a lot of the stuff I've talked about, that generally interests me. And I start looking into that person a little bit more. And I see what they talk about. And then I kind of have an interest with that topic. And then I get Adronis to elaborate a little bit more because there's that lack of information. So that's really how I work. I don't do, I don't slander people. That's something I've never done. I don't copy people relating to the idea of reading this book and saying, oh my God, they talked about this, so I'm going to talk about this, right? It's very, very different. If I do attract myself to a book, it's through a synchronicity about what's been talked about. So no, I like to think that a lot of the energies that Adronis have come through has been subjects that have really never been talked about in great depth as it pertains to any other experts or channelers or psychics. And I'm very happy for that because it's just all about me sharing this information as I receive it. And everything in regards to these videos are public domain. And so people are always able to freely share this information as possible. Yes, I have sessions. Yes, I have digital courses. I have all of that. But again, I'm doing this full time for a living. So it's a compliment to everything that I do because I see this in very high value. And I love what I do. And I love doing the free stuff just as much as I love doing the paid stuff. So they're all on equal ground there. So that's basically the energies of Adronis and how he started with the automatic writing and then moved more into vocal channeling where it is now. Okay, question number 3. Brad, do you have a good sense of humor? What are some fun things you enjoy? Yeah, actually, one of the funniest jokes I've seen recently is I think it's actually kind of an old joke. It was called "The Italian Man Who Went to Malta." I laughed my ass off at that one. Yeah, I actually like a lot of Russell Peters stuff as well too. There's that comedian. He's hilarious. Yeah, I do have quite a funny side. There's times where, I mean, some people have seen my channeling the dancing videos, so a lot of this channel, I bring a lot of serious stuff, no pun intended, to people, because there's a real demand for that. People have loved the information that I share, and that's why I continue to do it. And this has been the most wonderful thing of my life, and so I keep doing that. But yeah, I can be quite a goofball. I can play pranks and goof off a little bit. I mean, I did mushrooms last year, and man, I was an ass. On video, I've taped myself, recorded myself when I was on mushrooms, and it was freeing, man. It was very, very liberating. But yeah, absolutely. I love to have fun. I love to dance around like a goofball when I'm around a lot of people. The funny thing is I'm alone most of the time. Like, I'm very independent, right? I'm kind of more private. I don't really go out to big social gatherings very, very often. It's quite rare. About 75 to 80% of the time, I'm a home body, right? But I go out quite a bit during the day, going for walks, going to the store, all that stuff. But I'm not really that much of a social gossip king in that way. But no, I really enjoy a lot of funny stuff. I'm very much actually into anime, a lot of stuff. One of my favorite ones is the fairy tale anime. And, I love all the just funny stuff that comes out of that. Love comedies. I've done comedies. I've done improv. When I was younger as well too. Done a lot of acting. So yeah, I get kind of goofy when the mood hits. So yes, I can be fun. Doesn't seem like it right now, but I certainly can be. Okay, so yeah, what sort of fun things do I enjoy? Well, what sort of fun things do I enjoy? Well, I like being outdoors. I like going outside, and I guess that's kind of the same thing. But so I love doing yoga. I love going for hikes. I love being out in nature. I'm pretty much up for everything. I like to try everything at least one time. So basically, you name it. Brad, would you go jump off a plane? Paraglide? Sure. Throw me a parachute. I'm there. Yeah, go on a helicopter ride. Go deep sea diving. I think that'd be fantastic. Like, I'm up to all these great things. So I'm always up to trying a lot of things once. I think it's just much more fun when you're doing it with other people. So that's my challenge, I think. It's getting together with other people and doing some of this cool shit. So that'd be fun. Okay, question number 4. Brad, how do you access the universal mind, and how is it different from channeling Adronis? Well, the universal mind in that way is that I don't really, when I'm connecting with Adronis, it's kind of like you're pointing a laser beam, a line of sight towards a particular energy, a mediator in that way. And I'm not really doing that. So when I'm focusing my energies and channeling Adronis, he's in the center of my attention. I'm centering myself, I'm calming myself down, I'm getting into neutral mind, and then I'm focusing my attention upon Sirius, upon Adronis. So when I do chanting, it's basically Terra, Soul Star, Sirius, Adronis. I do that chanting, Adronis comes through, and of course there's the channeling state. When I'm connecting to the universal mind, it's not like that. It's more just opening myself up to my own awareness. It's kind of like I'm just taking my field and I'm expanding it. And I just kind of take a moment just to center, and as I breathe in, I feel like there's this vertical line that comes up. As I breathe out, that vertical line expands. And you can see that as a toroidal field, a singularity, etc. When I tap into that singularity field, then all this information starts flowing through, but I'm not altering my state of consciousness to host another entity like Adronis. It's just all information that's being fed into me in a very natural state. So I'm basically just feeling like I'm rotating without rotating, and just receiving a lot of this information as it comes through. I don't think, really, it's just all coming through flow. And so it's just being able to see like a gateway open up, and the information is there. I don't need to talk to anybody. It's just that this information is instantaneously aligned with myself because I center it, center myself in regards to whatever the question, the subject is, and then the information comes through, and it can be quite profound. So still something I'm working on, of course. I've been doing all this work now for 8 years, and it's just barely scratched the surface. So there's a lot more to do with accessing the universal mind, with channeling, with healing, with a lot of different things that I do. You never stop, you never end, and you're always going to really be a student. This is kind of the funny thing, is I never talked about this in a video before, but to me there really isn't such a thing as a teacher. It's really just, we're all just really being students. There's a lot of teaching that we're doing, but I really don't think anybody's a teacher, and that's just my own kind of particular perspective here, is that to me, I can teach, Adronis can teach, he can share, but to really be a teacher in that sense, to me, is feeling that you already know everything. You're already there. To me, spirit would absolutely be a teacher. But to me, I just see myself as a facilitator of learning, a facilitator of sharing, a facilitator of teaching, but not really like a teacher in that way, because to me that's feeling something absolute. To me, when I see teacher, I feel like there's another half missing, because I think really what it is all about, at best I can describe it as being a teacher/student, right? Being a teacher/pupil. To me, that feels better, because that's a harmony. I don't consider myself a quote-unquote spiritual teacher. I just consider myself a spiritual facilitator, a reality whisperer, right? That's the best way I can put it. But no, to me, teacher is just something that is all-knowing. So I would look at spirit as teacher. I would look at the idea of what we could consider God to be a teacher in that way. But really, the whole idea is that I enjoy referring to myself as a facilitator, as a reality whisperer, as a teacher/student. That would be fine. But that's simply how I see it relating to that. So hopefully I've answered that question. Question number 5. Brad, what's your favorite word or favorite thing to say to somebody else? Favorite word? Favorite word. I usually say I to a lot of people. People that I'm just kind of goofing around with, I say I against that fairy tale anime stuff, right? There's that little cat that says I all the time. I say that quite a bit to my friends. Aye, how's it going? Aye. Maybe I sound like Scotty as well too, but I like that word. I like the word of I. Favorite things I like to say to people. I don't really have a catchphrase or anything like that. Reality is by interpretation. I guess that's things as I've said very, very popularly to a lot of people. I say, hey, just don't worry about it. Reality is by interpretation. Reality is by interpretation. Right? That's been one of my favorite things to say, because I live by that philosophy. It's all about interpreting reality as it is. That's the nature of me being a reality whisperer. So, favorite things to say, that's hard. Favorite things to say to people. If I was basically come up to you and say, sup, that's fine. I don't know. I don't really have a catchphrase other than that. But favorite thing to say is saying, thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe. Maybe I'll start that. Maybe I'll start talking to people like that. Hey, thanks for emailing me, subscribe. That'll be my catchphrase from now on. Alright, thank you so much for tuning in to the top 5 questions here for this month of October. And so I'll be back with another one in November. If you guys have some questions that you want me to share for the November episode, just feel free to drop me an email. Go to the contact page in realitywhisperer.com and you can drop me a question, and I'll make it an effort to go through a lot of the questions and choose the top 5 for November. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you again soon. Talk to you in another perspective of the now. Hey, please subscribe. Take care.